So ME Foggy Dog has fundraised for Cure ME for the last couple of years. Cure ME is based at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. So I'm very happy to now be talking to Caroline Kingdon, who is part of the Cure ME team. Hello, Caroline.
Hi, Sally. Good to see you.
And you. So Caroline, if you could just tell us about the work that Cure ME does.
Yes, of course. So Cure ME was started before I joined it by Eliana Lacerda and Louis Nacour, who, together with an earlier colleague, decided that there really had to be proper biomedical research into NECFS. And they thought that the best way of getting this done was to actually have a biobank. A biobank is a collection of biological samples and data. And we have samples and data now from people with NECFS, and a significant number of whom actually have severe NECFS, people with MS, and people who are generally healthy controls. And what we're able to do is we're able to compare the biological differences and the differences in things like symptoms between the three groups of people. And that's proved enormously helpful over the last 8 years. And we've been able to publish a number of papers that have shown that there are distinct biological differences, which we're going to continue to investigate. And I think the important thing is that all this research has been led by people with NECFS themselves. So right from the beginning, they were involved with deciding the way that the biobank would be set up, who would be involved, who would be invited, how we would engage people with NECFS. And one of the important things that came out of that preliminary engagement with the NECFS community is that right the way through, we've been able to visit people with severe NECFS who are otherwise home or indeed bedbound, who wouldn't otherwise have been able to participate. So we have a number of people, some of whom I've seen more than 2 or 3 times in their own homes. And I go there and am able to do a clinical assessment, take some measurements, also take some blood, take it back to the biobank where it's stored, and we're able to draw on that invaluable resource because there are very few places worldwide who are able to engage people with severe NECFS.
Yeah, well, you know, I think Cure ME is awesome. I think you do amazing work. And I remember when I came to London to visit your office, you had a map on the wall to show your global reach. It had like bits of cotton or whatever stretching out. So you just want to tell us what countries you'd obviously, I'm assuming the samples can't be shipped over or imported from there, but researchers from various places around the world use your resources. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. So first of all, we ought to start with the UK, because it's really interesting where the samples have gone here. So they've gone to some of our most prestigious universities, you know, Oxford, Cambridge, they've gone to Wales, to Cardiff, they've gone to Edinburgh, they've gone to all sorts of research labs in this country. So that's great news. But then further afield, they've gone to South America, they've gone to North America, they've gone to Israel, they've gone to Spain, they've gone to Portugal, they've gone to Germany, they've gone to Austria. And almost all those places have used the samples to find that there are differences between people with MECFS and healthy controls, and have published papers. So the biobank not only facilitates our own research, but it also helps facilitate research really all over the world. I have to say, for me, the best part of it is actually going to visit participants, or indeed meeting them in the clinic and hearing their stories, and just really being able to validate their experience. Because when I hear stories from people, I hear so many similarities between these stories. And although we're taking a very long time to find out what's going on with ME/CFS, I am absolutely convinced that it is a very real biological illness. And I have to say that when I first took the job, I wasn't necessarily convinced. I'd been a nurse practitioner for many years, and one always heard about people with ME/CFS, and occasionally you'd see them, and of course you'd always see them on a very good day. So that makes your impression a false one. And it wasn't until I was able to go to people's homes and see the impact of the disease on their lives that I really started to realise just what impact this awful disease has on people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Every Foggy Dog's got that saying. Our slogan is, you only see us when we're well enough to be seen.
Yeah.
And so many people see me when I'm at business events and don't realise once I'm home after that business event, I can't get out of my bed. There's kind of a detachment from my brain and the rest of my body. I can't feel my arms and legs. There's a bit of palsy in my face. My mouth droops. You don't see any of that because I'm normally too unwell to leave my house.
So what's interesting is that because it takes such a long time to diagnose someone with ME/CFS, we don't actually have any blood samples or data from when they were initially ill. So what we're hoping to do, and we'll need funding for this, is to look at people with long COVID and look at their data and samples so much earlier in the disease, because it may be that things that are happening earlier on then stabilise, and what we're looking at are the stabilised values rather than the immediate reaction to that viral illness. So yeah. I think that could all be very exciting, and obviously we'll continue to involve patients, people who have ME/CFS or who have long COVID, so that we always include the voices of those patients and indeed their carers.
So what is the one thing that you personally want non-ME aware people to know about ME?
Well, I think that people with ME/CFS have had so much stigma to deal with over the years, and people with long COVID are experiencing similar things. Is this really real? And I would just like people to know that this is a very real disease which has profound effects on the people who have it. Even people mildly affected sometimes have to change their entire lifestyle. They might manage to go to work, but that impacts everything else. And it impacts the parts of life that bring richness to an existence. So I think that what I'd really like people to understand is how very real this disease is. Even if you see people who appear to be well, you have no idea what's going on in their lives behind the scenes.
Absolutely. I echo that 100%. So much that people should... You can see it. You can see ME/CFS in patients' eyes. When they're starting to crash, you get like a blank expression.
Yeah.
You just have to know that it's there and to look for it. Anyway, thank you very much for talking to me today, Caroline. And thank you very much for all the amazing work.
It's been a great pleasure. Not at all. And thank you for all you're doing for the team. We so appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure.